here we have Lisa Boyles from giffgaff. So Lisa is going to be talking about the ethos of running a campaign against TV sponsorship. So giffgaff have partnered with The Voice for, I think, since 2018. They may correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, really good campaign where it's integrated with traditional media. And I think Lisa is probably going to give you a hell of a lot more information about. Really looking forward to one. Just leaves me now to welcome to the stage Lisa Boyles.
Hi folks, so such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for everyone for having me and for also choosing to spend your lunchtime with me. So for any of you that like live tweeting, I'm at Lisa Boyles Media, so please do tweet along and send questions after the presentation as well. So, okay, you have to excuse me, my notes aren't showing clearly, so I'm going to be reading from my sheet. A super quick intro, aside from being not the best public speaker, and I eat way too much Bourneville chocolate, I'm also part of the social and PR team at giffgaff, and I lead on all of our paid activity, all of our insight and reporting, all the project management, but then I also take on responsibility for the campaign management behind all of our TV sponsorships, and that's what brings me here today. I'm also a big lover of GIFs, and it is pronounced GIFs, so if you want to send me a GIF, I would appreciate that. For those not familiar with giffgaff, we are a mobile network in the UK and we're soon to be celebrating 11 years. We were founded with this community model in mind, and this ethos still extends through everything that we do today. And we actually began with an online community before we even had a mobile network. And our members, which is what we call our customers, they manage our community forum, they submit new product and proposition ideas, they help run our social help on Twitter and Facebook. And in fact, the mobile network run by you is considered to be one of the most recognisable taglines for a UK telco. But to us, it's so much more than a tagline. It's at the heart of everything that we do. So what is the deal with giffgaff and TV sponsorships? Fun fact, when I told my friend that I was starting at giffgaff a couple of years back, she turned to me and she said, "Oh, I've heard of giffgaff. They sponsor things." And well, she wasn't wrong. You know, we do. Our first big sponsorship was The Big Bang Theory, way back in 2012 on Channel 4. And I have a cool clip to show from that a bit later in the presentation. And then between 2015 and 17, we were sponsoring about 15 shows as part of an E4 package, and that included Supernatural, which I love, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The 100, Tattoo Fixers, and just many, many more. And throughout this run, we would be each of those shows along with the fans, tweeting along, and that's how we built up a lot of the community that we then took forward and really run with for The Voice, which we'll talk about later. We enlisted the help of an agency to help us manage this in 2016 because it was just a lot to handle. And then I joined the giffgaff team mid-2018 to help develop sponsorships a little bit more holistically across digital. And then for the last 3 years, you're absolutely right, from 2018 onwards, we've been sponsoring The Voice UK. So today I want to share with you some helpful tips and guidance on how to take a big TV advertising venture and really make the most of it for social media. And hopefully these lessons will still be applicable for less massive events. It's still, those little tips will still be helpful. So we're going to talk about extending above the line, through the line, and that will really help to maximize your ROI to the business. Then we'll talk about how to grow a really loyal social community. And then finally, how to surprise and delight that community in ways that are really worth sharing. So
well,
this
I'm
should
famous for
play,
saying,
yeah.
"Hey, big spender."
That's an old one.
Yeah. The minute he walked in the joint, giffgaff proudly sponsors The Voice.
I hope that played for you. I could just hear it. It didn't move for me. But that was an example of one of the TV idents from The Voice UK 2020 sponsorship. So in this first section where I'm talking about sponsoring through the line, I'm going to use this year's sponsorship as the example because I think it's the best we've done it yet. So we went into this sponsorship as a fully joined up venture between TV and digital. So my counterpart Rael in advertising, we literally sat together, we wrote the brief together, we went to the response presentations together, fed back together, and it was a joint up venture between social, digital and advertising from the very beginning. And this is really key because very often on event or sponsorships or brand activities like this, digital and social gets overlooked, and you can really tell when things aren't developed with social in mind. You're all aware, you all share this frustration. So this year, our sponsorship ads focused on giving people their own voice. It's the voice, we gave people a voice. You get it. So our ads featured a literal soapbox on which people could stand and say their piece. For the voice idents, these were all about people talking about the coaches, their karaoke songs, their favourite moments, just little funny clips. But then on these shoots, we also captured people talking about giffgaff and refurbished phones, which is a big thing for us, but also about the importance of communities as well. What you actually can't tell from this video, but this box is actually completely accessible. So it's framed quite well that you can't see the wheelchair accessible ramp on the back of it as well. And the human element to these ads and these idents really, really resonated well on social. We knew through previous testing on other, advertising that we've done, that anything that shows a real person on social just outperforms everything else. And we also know that you can't just slap a TV ad on social and hope it works. It's all about that different crop and that framing. Selfies are what live on social media, so you need to be really up close. So in addition to the sponsorship ads, we adapted our own social ads around refurbished phones. And that was our strategy for 2020. But then, March hit, that all went up the wall. It's all COVID. What are we going to do? We can't be pushing phones. People are locked down. But luckily, because we're a brand that really communities where we hone in, and we'd asked all these wonderful questions about what community means to you and what community groups you're part of and how do you come together. We had this wealth of footage that we were able to quickly re-edit, develop a new media plan and get it live all within 2 weeks at the very end of March when everyone got locked down. So as you can see here, the two different types of ads we ran at the start of March versus the end of March. And this was just a massive, massive feat and super impressive for all the teams involved. So thanks on my side for that. And then we took the consistency of this box across everything that we were doing. So these are examples of the DR ads that we were running on social. And they take both either the box itself or the textual background, and it just makes it a very identifiable campaign through the whole funnel. Hopefully these will play subtly in the background. Within our sponsorship package, we also have advertising on the Voice app. So if you don't have it, download it. It's fun. And we have some little takeovers within that. And we have these playful little videos that show pushing refurbished phones, pushing ordering a SIM, but they all feature the people that were in the ads and this box texture as well. And they bring out that very human, engageable, meme-y kind of element as well. And then finally, we were creating this really joined up journey, but we didn't want it to stop on social just because we're the social media team that people are going to go on the website and continue that journey as well. So all of our landing pages were updated to reflect this campaign, and not just the landing pages, all the way through to the completion pages as well. So from the moment that they would then leave the site, they had this same joined up journey with the box and the personalization of the people that we featured. So I just want to summarize this section quickly before we get onto the GC community building element. It's really, really important to work collaboratively with the other advertising or brand leaders in your organization, and not just them as well. Become besties with your web team as well. Working in silos never delivers as effectively as a joined up effort. You need to really, really know your KPIs for each channel, and then you can ensure that creative is, when it's being developed, is adaptable enough to support all of that. So now onto the community element. Right from our very earliest sponsorships, we put Mobile Network Run by You at the very heart of what we were doing. Way back in the day, we let members control our Big Bang Theory idents, and I hope some of you remember them. What we did is we had a Facebook poll that would go out quite regularly, asking people to suggest and then vote on what they wanted us to blow up next. So this is just one example, which is the cake. And it was the most recalled ad spot at that time. So yay, it's a great success. And then our sponsorships of entertainment on E4 and the Crystal Maze on Channel 4 and the Circle and the first couple of years of The Voice then evolved, letting it be run by you, by taking the tweets of the fans of these shows and putting them then on TV. So this is where we really, really embraced Twitter even more, to dial up those conversations, get to really, really know these people and then champion their quotes onto social media. And fans of these shows absolutely love their 10 seconds of fame, who doesn't? So in the last couple of years, we've been seeing people filming or taking photos of their TV and putting it on Twitter. So as well as reaching all of those people watching Supernatural, The 100, whatever, you're also then reaching all of the friends and family of that person that we've then put on TV. Got to love some free earned reach. And more recently, we've then created GIFs of each of these ads so that we can send them to these individuals so that they have their own personal GIF, their own video of their activity on TV. And yeah, this sentiment is absolutely lovely to see. And it wouldn't be enough to just simply dip into these conversations, just to say, hey, we want to use your tweet for our own purposes and then disappear. We want to have meaningful and lasting presence in these communities. And also, not everyone that talks about a show on TV is comfortable with their social handle and their words being put on TV. The world is full of trolls, and we fully respect that. We just still want to be there for a chat. So, we keep a social CRM of these people and what they're interested in, and we make it personal. There's this wonderful girl, Sammy, who's on the left of the screen, who we know is a massive Directioner, and I happen to be a bit of a Harry Styles fan. So there was just one whole episode of The Voice where there was a back and forth One Direction song pun-off. And we check in with her whenever one of those boys releases new music or is up to something. Delia, in the middle, she loves to bake, and every single week she would tell us about the virtual sweet treat that she was making us, and she did offer to send it to us at some point, but by that point we were all working remotely. And also, many of our community love sharing the antics of their pets with us, and honestly, who doesn't have to see that? That's the highlight. As a result, we become so embedded in these TV fandom communities that the fans are proactively tagging up all the branded hashtag that we might have for different sponsorships without us prompting or without them intending necessarily for us to reply. Our name, GIFGAF, or hashtag GIFGAF Channel 4, it just becomes embedded in their fandom culture, and they want to include us in that way and use that as a way to reach fellow fans of the show. So for our big E4 sponsorship, and when we were sponsoring many shows in one package, it was just neater to use hashtag GIFGAFE4 for all of our engagement. And it's really rare for a branded hashtag to be so proactively embraced. Normally it's a world where brands are told to shut up. But what we actually saw was, as well as hundreds of fans actively using it, the writer of The 100 used it to express his thanks to the show fans. So looking at this slide actually makes me really sad that I joined GIFGAF just after our E4 sponsorship, because I'm a massive Supernatural fan. This is me with Dean Winchester. Be jealous. This year, there were also a couple of instances where people were recreating our ads. So Jim here on the bottom, he just hopped up on a bench one day and recorded himself saying, GIFGAF, the mobile network run by you. We weren't asking for that. That wasn't something we were calling out for. But it was a lovely surprise nonetheless, and we sent him some goodies as a thank you. And then we form real bonds with the community in this way when we take them through multiple sponsorships with us. So about 18 months ago, we sponsored season 1 of The Circle, and it was a brand new show. People hadn't heard of it, weren't sure what it was about, but the members of our Crystal Maze and E4 community were keen to check it out once they heard that we were sponsoring it. And it's a very reciprocal relationship. And seeing this level of love back on Twitter is a very refreshing change that the day-to-day you see of running a brand account and the health issues that come off the back of it. So in a world where the silence brand meme exists, it is rare for people to say, do you know what? I really miss that brand's presence. So when it comes time for us to say goodbye to a sponsorship, especially a long-standing one, the fans actually really do notice the void, either when we say goodbye at the end of the sponsorship or when they come back to the next series and they're like, wait, where's giffgaff? Why aren't they sponsoring it? And even now, I think it's been about 3 years since we stopped sponsoring things like Supernatural, but whenever it pops back up on Channel 4, we do still see little messages saying, oh, I really miss giffgaff. So my key recommendations within this section are to make sure that you connect authentically with the community and on their own terms. Allow them to express themselves and to own the conversation. Don't be like dominating if we're not welcome. And then be consistent with your presence. So if you say you're going to show up for each episode, show up for each episode. And then in this last section, I'm going to talk through some of the ways that we've surprised and delighted our TV sponsorship community. So this first example on this slide is back from our E4 days, where as well as putting the tweets on TV of our fans, we then selected like the most talkative friends that we spoke to on Twitter. We popped their tweets onto a mug, and then we sent that out to them. It's personal. It also matches like the TV consumption habit of having a cuppa whilst you watch. A quick disclaimer, we didn't arrange for the chap on the left to meet Mark Sheppard, who plays Crowley in Supernatural, but we are super jealous that that happened for him. And then the last 2 years, we've been taking fans of The Voice along to the exclusive press launch, which they get to meet the coaches, they get to watch exclusive performances. The only people there are literally the press, the media, and then we let them go wild on our Instagram and our Twitter handle. So last year we took Bizu, who was a will.i.am superfan, and then this year Del came along as well, and he got to meet Meghan Trainor. Last year, we took 4 really lovely fans on their very own photo shoot. And I just want to call out Lynn here, who was one of those, because the experience meant so much to her that she still talks to us about it on Twitter, even now, over 18 months later. And we've become such a part of her social media life that when she needed a little bit of extra love and support for something personal happening in her life, her son reached out to us and said, look, can you just send Lynn a message just to let her know you're thinking of her? So we did that, but then we also sent her a big old bunch of flowers as well. So you never know what people on social media are going through. And just us taking the time to get to know Lynn and take her out on this photo shoot and check in with her regularly, in her own words, has made her feel visible as an older woman. Last year, we also had this party bus. So we took a group of fans, competition winners, to a recording of the Knockouts at Elstree Studios. So as well as winning an overnight stay and tickets to the show, and they got this big old box of goodies, we put them in a big old party bus. There was karaoke machines, balloons, streamers. They had VIP access backstage. It was a lot of fun. The video, unfortunately, is not playing, but I'm more than happy to share with anyone that is interested. But I fully appreciate that there isn't actually always budget or room in a partnerships agreement to run big activities all the time or even at all. I come from the charity sector where I once had an annual budget of £200. You can't buy anything on £200. The good thing about keeping it simple is that it can be just as effective. This year, we sent out all of these cute little surprises to our regulars. So Bella the Shar-Pei, which, yep, is a dog account, got sent a brand new toy and some dog treats. Jacqueline always watches The Voice with her kids, so we gave them lots of popcorns and sweeties. Matt cheekily messaged us saying that he wanted steak and chips. So, steak flavoured crisps, it's the same thing. Yeah, he appreciated it. And then all of these people were so grateful that they took pictures of what they got sent and shared it with their social following as well. So that's that, we got that same level of earned reach for just, a few pounds at the local corner shop plus postage. And then the most important thing about all of this activity, from competition winners to the big experiences, the little surprises, is personalisation. Every single person that we've done something for over the last couple of years has been receiving handwritten notes from us, thanking them for chatting to us, congratulating them on winning a competition, calling out what it is specifically that we like about them. And you're having a lovely example of my great handwriting. No one likes their own handwriting. So this last section, my key recommendations, are to always add a personal touch. Keep it as simple as you need to for your budget or your resource, and then to always touch base back again after the fact. Before we finish up, though, I do just want to bring this back to ROI for the business, because it will help to justify more investment or more sponsorship activity. So as well as a high share of conversation between us within the Voice UK conversation on Twitter and incredibly positive sentiment, we also see big increases in brand awareness, ad awareness, consideration, purchase intent, as well as Net Promoter Score, which is a big golden metric for us at giffgaff. And this is actually an incremental increase on top of what just the TV ads brought themselves. So whilst TV is driving an impact, together we're packing the biggest punch. So just to wrap everything up, remember, advertising in social and digital must work together to be most effective. Always add that personal human touch wherever you can, and keeping it simple can be just as effective. Finally, thank you for having me. If you'd like to ask any questions, I'll be dipping into the Social All Day app for the rest of the day, and otherwise you can find me at Lisa Boyles Media on Twitter.
Hey Lisa, can you hear me? It's Stuart.
Yeah, hiya.
Brilliant session, really love that, and lots to digest there. We have had a few questions, but I'm going to kick off with my own, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you come into this culture of personalisation at giffgaff, or was this something that you kind of implemented yourself?
I can't take credit for giffgaff being very at one with their community. They always value that personal touch. It's like at the heart of everything. But it was something that we were missing specifically for our sponsorships on social media. We didn't have that dedicated resource that brought things together, and it was very much just a team that would tweet along for a show, and that was it. There wasn't that surprise and delight element, that personalized touch for everything that we sent out. That element is something I've brought to it.
It's really cool, actually. And I think it seems, it definitely goes a long way, that going that extra mile for people. I think it looks great. Really impressed with that.
Thank you very much.
Sophie Clark has asked, have you found your TV sponsorship strategy has had to change with the rise of streaming platforms like Netflix, Prime, etc.?
Yes and no. I'm sure it has had an impact, but whilst that's come into play, people are still watching scheduled television, but they're also making that shift to video on demand of scheduled television. So shows like The Voice, yes, viewership dips each year because more people are migrating to other shows, but VOD numbers for those shows are increasing, and we still have an advertising presence there. So it's definitely a trend to be keeping on top of, but people are still watching TV. And since March, when everyone's been locked down, it's flipped back the other way, where people are watching more Netflix and Prime, but they're also watching more scheduled television as well.
And wants to know, do you use any Advocates UGC management tool? If so, which one?
Not a specific UGC advocate management tool. We use Sprinklr for everything. And then within that, we have our rules and how we monitor our UGC there. Mostly it's a bit more manual on our UGC side, especially when we take tweets and put them on TV, because there's a lot of checks you need to do before that.
So are you actively looking at TV shows to sponsor, or are you being approached with ideas? How does that work?
At the moment, we're reviewing what 2021 looks for us. Open to suggestions, but it's all about what will make sense within the wider picture for giffgaff's media strategy, as opposed to a one-off sponsorship. It needs to make sense within the holistic plan of the year.
Brilliant. And actually, Michael has said, thank you for the struggles of marketing in the charity sector.
Yeah.
He also wants to know, how did you move from the charity sector to giffgaff and switch?
Fun story. Unfortunately, the charity I work for was quite small, and a few years back, they unfortunately just had to stop. So I got made redundant. Slipped into, that was a wider communications role. I slipped into social media by contracting, and I was running the social media for Dulux and Cuprinol and all of those brands. And then as that contract ended, an opportunity at giffgaff arose. So that's how I went from charity into corporate. But I still have a lot of love for the charity sector.
And what's the biggest, as a corporate social media manager, what is the biggest challenge for you at the moment?
It's always time and the fluctuations of changing. The world is always moving anyway, but 2020 seems to me like the pinnacle example of constant change. So it's constantly keeping up with different consumer behaviors and different consumer needs as well. So I find you develop a really great strategy and plans, and oh god, you got to redevelop it all. So it's that being agile and energetic and ready to adapt to change is always the biggest challenge.
Brilliant. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. It's a shame we're even at St Luke's in London, but I think the virtual stage has you've done a brilliant job, and I think when you go back and have a look at the feedback, you'll be really pleased with.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.